so that we can, so when I know, just so that we talk. Sorry about that.
Okay. Nope, I didn't know. Go do this.
Okay. Welcome you guys to a live stream audience participation show, Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Please, as Jason said, silence your phones. No flash photography, no audio or video recording. And as I said, it is audience participation. So we'd love to have you come up and ask questions of our guests. And if you do, face this way so you're on camera. And when the answer comes, then you're more than welcome to talk to who it is you're asking questions to. If the show strikes you as funny, excuse me, and it does me, and it's fun, then laugh and laugh loudly. Okay. There's
laugh
oftentimes we do. There's oftentimes people need oftentimes
But
need
not too long.
permission to laugh. We do not need permission to laugh here. So, okay.
And then they each have a sheet. The bookmarks you've just gotten are to write down whatever you're thankful for. All right. And yes, and then
Am I announcing the show or no?
are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Barbie's going to do it today.
Oh, all right.
Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen.
Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. This is season 2, episode 3. And now, here is Brooke Allen.
Well, good morning. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, of course, as Barbie said, season 2, episode 3. And we are sponsored by Advancing Macomb. We are live from the Imagine More podcast studio, which is in Birmingham, Michigan, in front of a live audience. You heard them clapping. It's always so exciting when everyone is here. It's a great networking opportunity if you've never been here to the live show. Of course, I'm Brooke Allen. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Monday morning. I can hardly believe that Thanksgiving is this week. And here's a little bit of a confession. I have actually, in all my life, never cooked a Thanksgiving meal. A funny story, years ago when I lived in California, my mom came out to visit and she was going to spend Thanksgiving with us. She was trying to be nice, but finally asked me, so like, where's the turkey at? Because I guess it takes a couple days to thaw. I'm like, oh, there's no turkey. And she was like, trying not to get upset. And then she finally was like, what is happening? I'm like, we're getting turkey in a box. So what it was out there in California, it's Pavilions, which is kind of the equivalent of Holiday Market and Westbourne here. But it was very funny because it was actually super good. And the cleanup was minimal. So yes, so I have managed all my life to never cook a turkey, but I did bring my turkey friend with me today because he's a good friend. He does not have a name, but yes, he was hanging out and I dragged him in the elevator and people were looking at me like, what are you doing, lady? So we are just here getting into the season for Thanksgiving. I actually have the audience writing down what they are grateful for. And so we will read those off a little bit later. But again, thank you so much for being with us on this Monday. You know, real quick about Thanksgiving. I know that a lot of people love green bean casserole. I don't know, do people here love green bean casserole? Oh, I'm getting like head, like nose, yes, nose. Okay, what about the jelly cranberry sauce? Anyone like that? I love that, right? You just pop it out of the can on the plate. That is the best. So to me, though, it's kind of like coffee. It is more about the memory associated with kind of the food, right? I mean, I know for my kids, their grandma Nana used to make angel biscuits, which is a Kentucky thing. And the whole idea of you have this special food that you remember as a kid or even as an adult, and it just brings back all those memories. So to me, that's kind of what Thanksgiving is about. It's kind of one of my favorite holidays, actually. And as far as green bean casserole, yeah, I'm not a fan of that either, but I do love my jellied cranberry sauce. Well, there is so much to talk about today, including what your animals can and cannot eat this holiday season. It is also National Adoption Month, and something quite extraordinary has happened with our caffeinated act of kindness. Jojo and her husband Paul are actually here. They'll tell us about that from the Wings of Angels. But first, we are going to say good morning to Phil Gilchrist, who is the executive director of Advancing Macomb. And of course, Phil, I'm going to give you just a minute to sit down. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Yes, no, you know what? And Advancing Macomb, so many people are like, okay, we know Macomb County, but what is Advancing Macomb?
Yeah, Advancing Macomb is a nonprofit organization that was started about 12 years ago now, with a focus on helping to create collaborative opportunities and bring folks in Macomb County together to help benefit the quality of life and more specifically nonprofit organizations across the county.
So I think it's pretty interesting. You guys have this big roundtable series that you do, and it hasn't been widely publicized, right? It's just kind of now starting to get out there.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. The nonprofit roundtable was started back during the pandemic era, and it originally was begun as a CEO roundtable, an opportunity for nonprofit organizations to come together and share strategies and best practices in a time when things were changing very rapidly and people didn't necessarily know how to address the challenges that they were facing with that pandemic. The roundtable continued on now for about 4 years, a little over 4 years at this point, and has grown to become a platform for sharing all kinds of resources and information and making connections between nonprofits, but also with resources in the communities, funding opportunities, and other resources that nonprofits can benefit from.
And so who can come? I mean, do you have to live in Macomb to come to this?
No, we ask that nonprofits are either serving Macomb County or based in Macomb County, but we welcome nonprofits or leaders from other organizations that may not serve Macomb County. We just ask that they make a small donation to support the work. It is free for other folks who are in or serving Macomb County.
So in person or hybrid?
It's both.
It is both, right?
Yeah, we try to make the program really available and accessible to people who want to be able to participate, and we rotate back and forth between virtual sessions and in-person sessions throughout the year.
Okay, so give me an example of some of the topics, because they're good topics and they're important.
Mm-hmm. The topics run the gamut. They really focus on a broad range of really critical things that nonprofits either need to know or have some access to. This week, as a great example, we're going to be focused on mental health and well-being in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
We have some other upcoming sessions as well that are what we call a Meet the Funder session, and we actually have.
Oh, that sounds fun. Let's do that.
Meet the Funder sessions are not surprisingly some of the most popular sessions.
So,
that
okay,
we
so
host.
what, I mean, it sounds self-explanatory as far as what you're talking about in those, but tell me
In
what
case
that
it's
is.
not, yes,
Yeah.
the Meet the Funder sessions are an opportunity where we bring in a funder. It's December 4th is our next Meet the Funder session, and it'll be Fifth Third Bank to talk about some of their corporate giving opportunities. We scatter those throughout the year. We often will bring in foundations. We had the Community Foundation for Southeastern Michigan. We've had the Michigan Health Endowment Fund. Fifth Third Bank is really the latest and greatest to be joining us for that particular session. We have one more later in December as well that is not a Meet the Funder session, but it is related to finance and year-end accounting essentials for nonprofit organizations, for any nonprofits that maybe aren't sure what they need to be focused on at the end of the year when it comes to their money and accounting.
So what's interesting is we've met a couple times, and what you had said was that there are so many nonprofits that are smaller. I mean, we all know the big ones,
Sure.
right? But there's the smaller nonprofits that are actually, they struggle and they want to do so much good, but it's hard if you don't know where to start.
It really is. If you don't know where to start and you don't know where to find help. And we have come across a number of nonprofits that are very small. They're volunteer-led, or maybe they have a single paid staff person. And it can be a struggle for those folks to find the resources they need or make connections with potential volunteers or program partners. But that's where Advancing Macomb comes in and is able to help make some connections, make some introductions, or provide some suggestions and advice on where to find some funding, how to recruit volunteers, or what nonprofits really need to be thinking about in terms of overarching operations and governance and things along those
What do
lines.
you, in your opinion, what is the one, like the biggest thing nonprofits need to think about, whether they're older or new?
It's always about the money, right? In nonprofit world, it's always about where the next grant is coming from, where the next donations are coming from, how you're going to pay for the programs and meet your bottom line. And so we try to work with nonprofits who have those concerns and who are facing those challenges on identifying some other revenue streams or sources, opportunities to earn some money, and really how to build giving programs that will be beneficial for their bottom lines.
Okay, so you have these next two roundtables coming
Yes.
up, right?
Yep.
December 4th is the next one.
this week, November the 27th,
Oh.
is the next one.
Oh.
It's our mental
That's okay.
health and well-being in the workplace.
And you know, that one sounds that one sounds super important.
Yeah, I think that we can all recognize that mental health is an important topic, especially at this time of year, when stressors are higher, there's a lot more going on, and people they're spread a bit more thinly. And we recognize that in the nonprofit world, this can in fact be compounded by compassion fatigue, which is something that some nonprofit workers will definitely experience, as they're coming up on
So
the holidays.
what is that?
So when you think about nonprofits, many folks are working with vulnerable populations, and a good way to explain compassion fatigue. So when you're working with a vulnerable population, it impacts you too,
Yes.
right? It's not just the people who are experiencing the situation that they're going through that you're trying to provide support to, but you get some impact from that as well.
Well, that's no different than when I used to anchor the news. We'd have a huge breaking news story, and I'm telling you, sometimes I would just not want to talk the rest of the day after, because you feel that, and you can identify what other people are feeling.
Yeah.
So I guess I never realized that nonprofits would feel that.
Yes, absolutely. And when you think too about who some of those vulnerable populations are, staff in those nonprofits are really significantly impacted. So keeping in mind that well-being in the workplace is a really important topic, we're bringing a guest speaker in to talk about some strategies and tools that individuals can use to help navigate that and be prepared to manage stress in productive ways. But also we want employers to be cognizant of the ability that they have to provide a supportive workplace and the positive impact that can have on their staff as well.
Like $5 Jean Days, right?
Sure. I mean,
it's like free coffee for everybody all the time.
Those are definitely some strategies that can help that. But thinking about things like flexible work schedules and understanding that people's family lives right now might be a little bit more hectic than they might typically, and understanding in a more comprehensive way how to support your staff in ways that they want and need, I think are really important for people to consider.
Well, it's interesting too. I mean, we heard it right after the pandemic. It was, there's such the stigma of mental health had kind of gone away, and then the work-life balance came into huge, it was a huge topic, but it kind of feels like everything has gone back to what it was as far as the work-life balance and rushing to beat the clock. I mean, all of that.
I think there's two sides to that. I think in some cases it absolutely has, and I think in some others there are people who remember how we kind of got here and are more interested in maintaining some of those mechanisms that help to support people. And my own personal practice is to keep those kinds of things in place and make it a place where people want to be able to work, where they enjoy working, where they feel comfortable, where they feel productive, where they feel like they're having an impact, right? And I think that's what a lot of employers want for their employees, but we get this preoccupation with that productivity piece and focused on how do we increase our margins, how do we increase our bottom line, how do we
make more money?
Yeah, and I think that there's an important reason and acknowledgement for those sorts of things when it comes to business and nonprofits too. But the people who are driving things are the most important piece of any organization.
Right. So, is it too late for someone to register for the roundtable this week?
It is not.
Oh.
The information is on our website. Because this week's session is a virtual session. We'll hold it over Zoom, so a registration is required. That information is on our website, advancingmacomb.com.
Okay. And people can find out other information there, how to get
Yes.
involved,
Yes.
and then the roundtable series will continue into 2025, right?
It will. And typically the roundtables are held twice per month, except during the summertime when people get a little busier, and we'll hold them once a month. This month, the mental health and well-being this Wednesday at 1:00 p.m. is our last session in November. And then December, we have our Meet the Funder session on December the 4th, and December the 18th, we'll be welcoming FinM Solutions with the year-end accounting essentials presentation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Phil. It's always a pleasure to see you, and I know I'll be seeing you again soon.
Yes,
but
thank you.
such important topics, and the help that is available and getting the resources out there and to keep the conversation going, especially with the nonprofits who are doing so much good in the community.
Absolutely.
Right. So thank you. So we're going to actually bring Melissa in. Melissa. Yeah, hi, Melissa. Melissa is the CEO. I don't know if you two have met. Melissa is from Spalding for Children.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Phil.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. So November is National Adoption Month.
It is.
And there are about 3,000 kids, right, that are up for adoption in Michigan alone.
Yes, 3,000 who are waiting for permanency and about 208 who are waiting for families, meaning that they haven't been matched with a family. So,
Okay, so what are the age ranges of the kids?
most often, I mean, children who enter care are going to be anywhere from infant all the way up through 18. And we actually do provide service after the age of 18 because we know that kids, when they turn 18, don't magically
Yeah,
become, adults.
independent
They
and just figure out
legally,
how
yes,
to do. Yes, but
they're an adult, but
yeah.
no, there's a lot more that happens. So actually, there are services for those who are over the age of 18. But for adoption, there is such a thing as a adult adoption. So that does occur to ensure that there's a permanent legal connection.
Okay.
But with our families, we work with anyone who is from 0 to 7 up through 17.
And the whole idea, you hear people say a lot, well, I wish I could have a newborn baby, but it's the teenagers and
Yes.
it's the 10-year-olds, the 13-year-olds who know that they don't have a permanent home, that struggle with that. And yes, they, everyone comes with something,
Yes.
right? With an emotional issue or anger, or it could be a whole list of things that they struggle with.
Yes, yes. When there's instability in your life, when you experience abuse or neglect, that turmoil takes a toll on you mentally and emotionally. And so there are some challenges that our teens experience, that our kids experience, and quite frankly, our families all experience. And just like you were talking, Phil, our staff feel that as well. It is very true. And that doesn't mean that there are not things that can help with that, like stability of a family, permanency, connections to your birth family, your culture, and maintaining those connections. All of those things and continued positive interactions are really what can help a child and a family move forward from all of that.
The one thing about Spalding is that you guys stay with the families. And I just have thought that, I met you almost a year ago now during last year's National Adoption Month. But it's, they don't say, okay, well, happy adoption and see you later. You guys have resources, you have support groups. And I think that contributes to the success of these adoptions.
Absolutely. Because what happens is a lot of times if you do complete an adoption and the child is younger, once you hit those teenage years, we all know parenting a teenager.
Oh, yeah. It's a tough thing, man.
It can be challenging. And so there are resources. We live in a great state where there are resources available for families who've adopted. So our state does provide post-adoption resources, but we've always been of the mindset that you create a place and you create an agency where families know where to come back to. And I will tell you, I have people that contact me, and I've been there for so many years that I think of these kids as 5 years old when I last saw them, but they're now 20-year-old young women who are doing amazing jobs and enrolled at universities and working full time, but they still call when they need something.
Right. And, so I was on the website last night and I thought this was interesting. So there's a new program for foster kids that offer rides.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about that? Because people need to understand that the foster kids in the system, it's even harder for them.
Yes.
And there's a lot of truancy. There's a lot of issues that go with that. So this new program, what is this?
Transportation is a challenge. And so there were resources that were put in place, and it is on our website. You can find more information there. It is not one of our programs, but it is a local program that does help provide that, because we do live in a state where if you've ever tried to catch the bus or bus routes, it really is not incredibly easy. And it can take you hours, excuse me, to get to the place that you need to go. And our kids often have multiple different appointments. And then also when we try and look at where a child maybe is moving to, if they cannot stay in their same school district, what opportunities do we have to arrange that transportation to get the child back in that same school district? Because that's where you've made those connections. You have the friendships, the teachers,
and consistency,
the consistency and stability.
So if somebody was out there and they were thinking about maybe becoming a foster parent or even adopting a child, how easy or how complicated is the process?
It's a process that you have to be open to, you have to understand what's being asked of you and your family, because it really is all about the entire family. You're not just taking a child in with you, you are taking this whole family that this child comes with. But the great part is there are communities to help you. There's communities online that are tons and tons of resources in regards to support groups that people connect with each other and help support each other. We offer in person. So once a month, we have our in-person events where we're bringing our families in, where they can have that relationship with each other to talk about what are the issues that they're facing. And then there's classes that can be obtained either online or in person, because we are in a bit of more of a hybrid situation.
Yes, for sure.
And so those classes, not only can you get to know other people who are going through this with you, but also you can learn about the expectations, what's going to be asked of you, and what you need to do in regards to all of the classroom learning, having someone come out and do assessments. So it really is feasible. It's free. There's no cost. It's just really about finding the agency that you fit with and starting to take that journey and learn more about it.
Right. And that's about connections, which is no different than Advancing Macomb, right? So it's kind of getting the resources, but also the networking aspect.
Yes.
Because that is important, because if somebody knows that they're going through what you're going through and they can offer advice, it makes all the difference.
Absolutely. You really need the support in order to be able to do this, because when you're bringing children in your home, you're working in with school schedules. If you're a working parent, just today we had to send my youngest off with someone because I had to be here this morning.
She's like, thanks, Brooke.
So you have to have the support to help you out in that situation.
Right. And so the holidays, I can imagine, are rough for kids,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
families who are trying to go through this process. And what is the one piece of advice you have for anyone that may have just recently gone through an adoption or is thinking about it?
I would say when those times feel overwhelming, I would say to pause and to take a breath, and allow yourself that moment of feeling the anxiety, the fear, the sadness, because it's real. It's what you're feeling and experiencing, and it may be what the kids in your family are experiencing. And then once you are in a better place where you're a little bit more regulated, to then take that time to reconnect as a family.
Okay. And then how do people find Spalding?
www.spalding.org. And you can also call us at 248-443-0300 and learn all about fostering and adopting.
That is important. And that is such an important resource. In fact, both of you, Advancing Macomb, helping nonprofits, and then of course, Spalding with kids. It is just an amazing thing. I don't know if anyone, did you fill out your gratitude card?
I did.
What does it say? Because I don't have it.
Mine actually said I was thankful for my health and the health of my family.
Wonderful. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you.
And how about you, Phil? What does your card of gratitude say today?
I have not filled mine out yet because I had to get in the seat right away. However, I am really thankful for the supportive community I have around me that includes my family and friends.
And, this holiday season, obviously, it just calls more attention. The holidays bring out the best and the worst in people, let's face it, right? So I guess if we all work together and we can figure it out, but it's okay also, like you just said, to take that breather, right?
Yes.
And be like, okay, you know what? I need to regroup and I'm going to be okay.
Yep.
And that's what we do, right?
It is.
Thank you so much, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to see you again. And then JoJo from On the Wings of Angels is going to switch out with you.
All right. Here I go.
All right. So here I go. And then
Thank
Melissa
you.
is switching out with Paul. Thanks you guys so much. Hi.
Hi.
How are
Brooke.
you?
How are you? Good
I
morning.
am good. Hello,
Good morning.
Paul.
How are you? Thank you for having us.
Oh, you are quite welcome.
Yes.
So this is JoJo Dries and her husband, board member Paul Dries from On the Wings of Angels. And On the Wings of Angels has been our caffeinated act of kindness all month long. And of course, you guys have had some big stuff going on.
Yes.
And so I'm just going to say,
Yes.
so all those books on that shelf are going with you today.
Mhm.
So just, my kids picked them out and they were like, oh, if I was a child who needed something,
Your kids picked those
Yes.
out.
Aw,
So
is, is what they would want.
Strawberry shortcake
Yes.
was my childhood.
Oh, see,
like-
Holly Hobby was mine.
Okay, so that was like one of my favorites. I had the bed sheets. I had the pillow. I had it
Did you have the
all.
garbage can?
I did have the garbage can. I did.
It's all about the garbage can.
It was
man.
one of my favorites.
So yeah, so those are going
Yeah,
to you. But
that's amazing.
Thank you.
we had originally said that we were going to be a drop-off location. for this big clothing and toy drive that you've got going on. And the amazing thing that has happened is that how much donations have you gotten, JoJo?
Brooke, it has been overwhelming, and we are so grateful for the community that really stepped in and filled a whole warehouse with donations. And when at first I was wondering, okay, are these used donations? Are they, what type of items? I walked through, and without getting too emotional, I walked through on Friday, and it was overwhelming how many new things were brought, gently used things, toys, books, clothes, for women and children. And we couldn't be more grateful for the community stepping up, and even big companies and like Old Navy and Somerset.
Yes,
Mall
that was
and-
amazing.
Yes. And just
Okay,
people coming out.
So for people who may not be familiar with what On the Wings of Angels
Yeah.
is, tell me in one sentence, I'm going to challenge you.
We provide resources. We provide tangible resources, community, and support to domestic violence survivors.
And you are only a year old.
Yes, we are only a year old, but to the power of really speaking out your story, both as an individual and as a nonprofit, that's how we've grown so quickly. We're not shy to talk about what domestic violence is and what it looks like in our communities.
Okay, so Paul, you are here because you and JoJo have quite the history, quite the love story. I think it might be one of the most fantastic love stories I have ever not read in a book. I mean, this is like real life love stories.
Yes.
So your history together is so amazing, but I know that, JoJo comes from a background of domestic violence, which is how On the Wings of Angels started. But for you as the husband, can you talk a little bit about that? Because people need to understand that it's not all fun, right?
Sure. Yeah. So we've known each other for a long time, and if you knew our love story, I met JoJo when she was 9. I was 13. We met through a church camp, and things went from there. And we won't go into the full story of it, but when we reconnected because of Match.com later in life.
How come that works for everyone but me? What is happening with this? What am I doing wrong? Okay, carry on. Sorry.
The long story short is that we had tried to date, and we fallen in love, and her father had broken us up. And so 3.5 years after this horrible breakup where we never thought we'd see each other again, we both went on Match.com at the same time, and Match.com matched us.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Like God, the universe, fate, it was like all
Right.
came together.
Right.
And so then we were repaired up in September of 2011. And so in a very quick period of time, we got engaged during that Christmas, and then we ended up eloping because there was so much pressure from the family on Valentine's Day 2012. Well, I had known JoJo and her family for a long time, but I did not, and I knew that her dad was strict, and she came from a very fundamentalist, strict background, but that's all I knew. And I had no idea that there was any abuse because she had never told me any of that. And so we got married, and I was completely in the dark about it. And then as things happen once you get married, then those things start coming out. So one of the first incidences that I remember, we were in our kitchen in our apartment, and we were having a heated discussion about something, but it wasn't an argument. It was just like a passionate discussion about something. And I went to grab a plate or something where I went up high, and she flinched and shrunk backwards. And I was like, what is going on? And she just started bawling and started telling me a little bit about the abuse that she had had when she was growing up, which I had no idea. And I started bawling, and I
How long
hugged
had
her.
you been married when that first came
Oh,
out?
I mean, that was maybe a month.
Oh, okay. So a month into it.
2 to 3, 4 weeks, something like that.
Okay.
And then there was other things that, she knocked over a plan, and the dirt was all over the carpet, and she thought I was going to hit her. So it was just these things that just unraveled over the course of a couple months after
And
getting married.
those kind of things are easy to hide
They
when
are.
you don't live with somebody,
Yeah.
right? So you
Exactly.
And I see.
Yeah.
Thank you. But when you are together 24/7 and you're finally married, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you can't hide it anymore, nor should you.
Yeah.
Right?
So your reaction is natural, right? So you're used to 29
Yes.
years of reacting a certain way
Mhm.
with a male
With-
figure,
right.
you know, and so then when that happens, then your natural reaction comes out. And so he really helped heal me. So for the last 12 years of our marriage, you know, being with a partner that is compassionate and empathetic and understands that you are wired differently after 29 years of violence, just makes your marriage that much different and that much better.
So Paul, how, you know, I know some stories that I've had, the man just leaves,
Yeah.
can't deal.
Right. And
Right?
she was so worried about that.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
because it's kinda
she-
like, okay, are you
Yeah.
leaving now?
Oh.
How about now? Right?
Oh, it was a lot. Every
sure.
time that happened, or, you know, every time there was some kind of situation, she was very fearful that I was going to be like, oh, this is too much. What
Too
did
much,
I
I'm
get
gone.
into?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. You
but-
got into a lot.
Yes.
You did.
And it was-
You
and
got
it was-
I can say that.
You're
Jojo's
not
a dear
wrong.
friend.
Yes, we're dear friends. So yeah,
And- And it was and it's well worth it because she's just the most amazing person. Everything that you see, like, you know, social media and in the public is tenfold at home. So, you know, I would do it over a million times over and go through all this again. Luckily, I grew also up in kind of a fundamentalist Christian background, but did not have any of the abuse like that. My parents never laid a hand on me. They were strict, but they were strict in love.
Okay.
And so I grew up in just a different mindset. And so I was able to carry that over into our relationship. And then now we have two wonderful
Yes,
children.
two sons that I met
Yeah.
last week.
Yes.
Oh, you met them for the
Yes,
first time
for
last
the
week?
first
Yeah.
time. Yes,
Yeah.
but they were so sweet.
They are 9 and 11, Polly and Lucas. They are the best children two parents could ever.
Okay,
go
well,
for.
I might argue with you about that. My twins might have some. They might take that strawberry
I
shortcake.
love that. I love that.
So, and I mean, we're joking around, and this is a very tough topic, but the whole idea, Paul, if somebody is married to someone who has gone through domestic violence,
Mhm.
and what is your advice to help them?
So, I mean, the first thing would be to have patience. You know, it's not going to resolve itself overnight, and this has been you know, it took years for her to get to the place where she is now, and it wasn't just me. I mean, she's had, you know, Dr. Christina, who you had on
Yes.
last week,
Yes.
has been a huge force in her life. She's, you know, had therapy for, you know, 12 plus years now, and she still continues to do so. So this, I think the one thing would be for the husband would be to be supportive for therapy.
Mhm.
I think that's so important. I think too many men look down on counseling.
Or may not want.
or
I
may-
think sometimes men seem to not want somebody to share like their dirty laundry.
Exactly.
Even if it is a therapist, right? So that's
Exactly.
kind of one of
Yep.
the other things.
Yes. So I would say be patient, but be, as a man, kindness, right? Love, care, you know, putting your arm around her and holding her and working through the trauma, because there's so much trauma. And one of the things I did not realize is how you can trigger the other person without realizing it, right? And there's so many things that we've worked through, and vice versa, because we all have different things in our past
Right.
that can cause these triggered episodes. So I would say it really is a tangible focus on the other person, and, you know, that deep love and care and support, no matter what you're going through. And sometimes it's going to be hard,
Mhm.
and life is hard. And
Right.
you have to deal with that. So my thing that I would say to men is, if you want to be a strong man, then you need to stand up,
Mhm.
and you need to be supportive, and don't run away and hide.
So I think maybe the running away and hiding is
Yeah.
like the fight or flight, right?
Right.
So how often do we stand there and think, I'm going to bolt now, bye,
Yep.
Right.
or you know, stand your ground and say, okay, you know what, I'm in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, you guys have such an amazing story anyway. I don't see it ending any differently than
No,
with
and-
forever,
Right.
right?
And part of the fight or flight is we had to realize each other's like personalities.
Mhm.
So for him, you know, my my need to have something resolved immediately because of the trauma
Mhm.
and because I felt like it was going to break up.
Or even like silent treatments,
Like the-
right?
yes,
There's
that.
certain things that
Yeah.
you're like,
And for him, he was like, well, but that's not how I process things. Like I can't immediately jump into a conversation.
Yeah.
And so we had to realize that, okay, I need to kind of be able to sort of sit in the silence
Mhm.
because when he leaves a room, that's traumatic. So he was like, but I'm not leaving the room to leave you. I'm just leaving it to have some silence and process.
Right.
And then he was like, okay, I will sit here with you and process this in silence instead of feeling the need to leave. So there was this mutual agreement to what works for you. So you're not being more triggered than the moment called for.
Right. Barbie,
Yeah.
do you have a question? I do, Jojo.
Yeah.
On the Wings of Angels is such a touching title. It says so much.
Yeah.
So, are they the wings of Paul?
So that's a great question. We, on the Wings of Angels represents a lot of different types of angels. So for us, the first angel it represents are the deaths in the community from domestic violence. So we're doing this on their wings because we never want to hear about another death from domestic violence. And then it's the wings of the supporters like Paul, that truly come and wrap their arms around you and then lift you. So one of my favorite songs was always "The Wind Beneath My Wings," and so it's always been like that for us together. We've been that for each other. So yeah, the wings represent a lot of different things for us.
I would like to mention the supporters. We're both blown away by the level of participation from the community surrounding this organization. I mean, people are stepping up and they are making a difference, and they are volunteering their time, their money, their resources, their knowledge. It truly is humbling to see so many community leaders who are very passionate about this cause that we've started, and that I think is one of the biggest things that we have.
Has seen how the community has responded. Has this helped you in your healing?
It has.
Or has it
So,
triggered you sometimes too?
Both. That's
Okay.
a great question.
Okay.
So it's interesting because when you get out, you want to do everything yourself. Everything's like, okay, no one did it for me, so I'm just going to fix it myself, which has been one of the reasons we started on the Wings, was to be those arms and legs for the domestic violence survivors that we're serving. And so the expectation is always kind of, it's a very low bar, right? And so then when the community jumped in, the overwhelming response has been super touching, very moving, and very healing, because at the end of the day, you realize you're not alone. Something that domestic violence survivors experience is this feeling of, this is happening to me, I'm alone, I'm isolated.
And the solitude.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the solitude.
The solitude.
you know.
So you don't need any more donations.
Not for this drive.
Not for this drive. But
Yes.
but now we need to get the word out.
Yes.
We need to get the word out in like big letters and big
Yeah.
voices that about this going on, right?
Yeah,
About
so if you belong to a community organization, or you're a nonprofit that belongs to, the Macomb organization that Phil was just
Mhm.
talking about, or if you belong to a religious organization, or whatever it might be in your community where you're serving domestic violence survivors. So this is specifically for domestic violence survivors. The people that donated are donating for that purpose. So if you know someone in your community that is experiencing that or coming out of it, send them our way on December 14th, because on December 14th, there will be a free shopping spree for domestic violence survivors. So we're taking all these items that were donated, creating a beautiful store in this warehouse that was donated by Ivory Restoration and Yasmin. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make a store. So volunteers for the next 3 weeks, even through the holiday season, are going to be working very hard to make a store. And then December 14th, come shop, take what you want, with no guilt, and take it for your children, yourself, and walk away with all that for free.
you mentioned that you were blown away by the way that everything so gently used, yes,
Yeah.
but a lot with still tags on it.
Oh yeah.
And can you kind of speak to that for a minute, as far as, sometimes survivors don't feel like they're deserving of anything.
Yeah.
So the idea of picking out this beautiful dress, or even a coffee machine, or whatever it may
Yes.
be, that's new.
Yes.
They're worth it.
They feel worthy. So one of the things that Paul and I often talk about is how, even sometimes now till this day, he'll do something and I'll be like, oh, person the abuser.
Mhm.
And so to be able to give a survivor who's coming out of such a terrible situation something that says you are worthy, whether it's material or not, it means just way more than you could ever imagine coming from a survivor myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I asked Melissa and I asked Phil what
Yes.
they were thankful
Okay,
for.
I did
So
write mine
I
down.
See, oh,
so-
see, you
yep.
followed directions.
I followed directions very well. So
Go ahead, Paul, you
so I
go
wrote
first.
down I'm grateful for JoJo and our boys. That's our number one. Thankful for my career as a financial advisor, helping people with their finances and helping them get towards retirement. And then I'm grateful that we run a nonprofit to help survivors of domestic violence.
Excellent, thank you, Paul. How about you, JoJo?
So I'm grateful for this opportunity because often the partner side is not heard. So for you to bring Paul on, I think it's really important that men realize that their role that they have to play in this,
Right.
and any partner, whether you're male or female dealing with an abuser, a victim, a survivor. Really, thank you for just not letting this being swept under the rug and truly bringing to light this topic. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And so I felt bad because I had said that we were going to be a collection spot, and then you had said, I talked to you last night, and you
Yeah.
said, listen, I don't know what we need to do. We can't take anymore. And so then I was like, oh, okay, now what do I do? So what I am doing is going to tell you that the After Dark show is coming up December 9th, right here at Imagine. It's going to be a holiday extravaganza. I'm so excited. There's going to be carolers and
Wow.
vendors and food and drinks, and it's just going to be a blast. But a portion of those ticket proceeds will be going to On the Wings of Angels.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
so I
That's
just needed
so
to-
beautiful.
Yeah, I was like,
Thank
now what do I
you.
do? Have
Thank
some
you
more
so much,
strawberry
Brooke.
shortcake books.
Thank you.
So yeah,
Thanks so
so
much,
no,
Brooke.
you
Really
guys,
appreciate it.
what a team you are, and like I said, your love story. One day you guys need to write a book about it.
Yes.
right?
Little
I'll write the
Hallmark
book.
movie.
Yes,
Hallmark
and I will
movie.
star in it.
There we go. I love it.
And I just, so okay, so give me. I know we're not doing the address, but how do people?
So we
reach
are
out to you?
actually we are going to do the address just because those survivors can come out. So
Okay.
so 1270 Souter Drive in Troy, Michigan. So Souter is SOUTER. 1270 Souter on December 14th. If you know a survivor or you're a survivor yourself, please come out and shop for free all the generous donations that we were given.
So is this one day only?
For right now, it's December 14th, but the warehouse and Yasmin have been so generous that they're donating this space to us for another 12 months so that the survivors that we serve over the next 12 months are able to go and shop themselves as well throughout the year. But we want a big extravaganza on the 14th, right before the holidays, 11 days before Christmas. Come get your Christmas gifts, whatever it might be, and shop for free.
Okay, so extravaganzas galore this
Yes,
holiday
that's
season,
how it should
right?
be.
So,
Yes.
all right, you guys, thank you. Seriously,
Thank you,
so
Brooke.
much.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
us.
JoJo.
I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you and you,
Thank you.
sir, my favorite meteorologist.
And the nameless turkey.
And the nameless
I'm
turkey.
grateful for him. so.
I'm grateful for him too. He makes me smile.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thanks, you guys, so much. Hi. So, of course, Thanksgiving, we talked about the food earlier, but it is a time that we need to keep an eye on our furry friends because of what they can or cannot eat. So first we have Irene Singer. She is here. And then we have Dr. Golden Moore. She is an author, and we will talk to her in just a moment. But Irene, there's a lot of stuff that pets need to watch out for, right?
Yeah, well, people need to watch
Well,
out
right.
for it. That
Yes.
they give their courtesy.
That
But
they
first,
give-
I wanted to. Here's some
Aw.
healthy treats for you. You said you had a little dog
Ye-
from Taiwan.
Yes,
Taiwan.
Thailand. He
Or
is.
Thailand,
Yes,
I'm
Thai,
sorry.
yes, he was.
He was a special little
He was
guy.
a special guy. He's an old guy now. He will love
That's,
this.
that's okay.
But he
You can
was,
still have
yes,
fun.
he was adopted from, he was saved from the meat market in Thailand.
Yep.
So I say, the ongoing joke is that my dog has a passport, but I do not.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, so you have the list of what we need to watch out for, right?
Right. I mean, there's.
I have the list.
You have the list
I have
right
the
now.
list.
There's basically, you shouldn't give your pet anything raw
Okay.
unless you have, you're directed by your veterinarian. You have a long-standing raw diet for them. Okay.
Right, because some people do. I mean, some pets
Absolutely.
do, right? So
right,
that's,
but
yeah,
it should be all maintained and
Right.
veterinary watch because
Okay.
you can not have stuff.
I know. I'm allergic to chocolate. So is my dog, right? Dogs cannot
Oh,
have
no
chocolate.
chocolate. No
So we
chocolate.
have to
That-
be super
could-
careful.
Yes, and
during
the
the
list,
holidays.
There's some really, really toxic things like
And
xylitol.
poinsettias, right?
Well, yes, yes. But I focused on foods here,
Okay.
because that's kind of what everybody wants to do. Oh, I'm going to be, I mean, there are fur babies, they're
Right.
part of our family,
Yes.
and we want to give them treats just like we give kids and that kind of thing, and presents, whatever.
That's the point.
But like the artificial sweeteners, that's deadly.
Oh,
Yeah, like
Okay.
you don't want them to have the xylitol gum,
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
okay.
That is one of the deadly things. So these are, I put on our list here, just basically stay away.
Right.
You
Okay.
know,
So but there's a lot of spices on
Yes,
this, like
nutmeg.
cinnamon. and-
Yes, right. They can do harm.
Okay.
And you can give your pet a pumpkin is really good for your pet. It helps in many, many ways,
Mhm.
but you just can't hand them a chunk of pumpkin and tell them to chew on it. You know
Okay,
what I
right,
mean?
right.
Because then that can harm them. And then you can't give them pumpkin pie filling because it has those spices. So you
Yeah.
just get pure, if you're going to do it,
Mhm.
you get pure can of pumpkin. I do that for my wilds. I do that for our domestic animals
Right.
also,
Okay.
and it's ironically, some of them I've learned,
Mhm.
I
Well,
wouldn't-
because some are, avocados,
Mhm.
and then Brussels sprouts. Although I don't think my dog would ever want
No,
a
'cause
Brussels
we don't like
sprout,
'em
but-
either.
Right. Why would we give it to them?
I know, right?
Right.
And then, this is interesting with the holidays coming up. Homemade Play-Doh
Mhm.
or salted.
Oh,
They
that's
can't.
salted.
Yeah, so they can't have that either.
Right.
And then spinach. So another healthy thing that they should.
Right,
you know,
right. It's just, it's like some of them, like I said, I kind of put it together because it's like if it's on the list, just stay away from it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
really, our dogs and our cats should really just be on a good diet, of cat food or dog food or whatever.
Right.
Because there it's balanced and you don't have to worry, and that you don't teach them to beg and those
They're
kinds
just-
of things.
well-behaved pets, right?
Right.
Real quick, let's talk about bones though, because I know chicken bones, turkey, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole
Yes.
issue.
Oh,
So
it absolutely,
very
they'll
important.
splinter,
okay, and that can cause their intestine. I mean, it's
I'm telling you, it goes through it.
okay.
It can go through it, and it's emergency surgery
Emergencies. Yep.
now. That's
Okay.
terrible. I've seen many that don't get through it because they don't know that this happened, and it's days later when they're having some really major symptoms
Yes.
that, oh no, what could it be? And by that time,
It's
it
too
could
late,
be
right?
too late because the intestines were died,
Okay.
and you don't want that.
No, definitely not. So, Dr. Golden Moore, you are the author, and it's so interesting because you two had actually met. Long time ago.
I was surprised. This is
Yes.
so nice. This is
So,
so-
you are the author of Tales from Beyond the Paw Print. You have so many degrees, and you originally started in hospice, right?
I actually my first degree is in speech communication, so I was a professor in that field, and then after the losses of immediate family members,
Mhm.
I was inconsolable with my grief. I had no way to frame it. I had no way as a former instructor to how do I outline it? How do I work through it? Is there a syllabus on how to get through this? I had no idea. I was inconsolable. And I learned about a graduate program at Madonna University on bereavement, hospice education, and palliative care. And I was accepted into the program. And in the midst of that program, I entered the program to learn how to understand what this thing is called grief. I
Human
felt,
loss, right?
yeah, human loss. That in school we learn about reading, writing, and arithmetic. But where is there about interpersonal communication, which was why my degrees were in that. I felt like I had no idea how to communicate with people.
Mhm.
And then comes all this grief, and I'm like, I can't function. I've never been like this before. So again, I entered an educational program to learn more for my own understanding and healing. But then I discovered, oh my goodness, my two best buddies
Yeah. Names
within a month, Pablo and Nellie,
Okay.
within a month of each other, both middle of the night. They were in animal palliative care already. They were 16. But in the middle of the night, 1 month apart, this howling and yodeling that I'd never heard before. And we jumped out of bed, got a speeding ticket on the way to an emergency care facility. And the police officer didn't know what to do because I'm sobbing. The cat is screaming. And he said, just get where you're going and don't speed the rest of the way. And we got there, and it wasn't romantic. It wasn't a beautiful death. They had to immediately euthanize him. And so a month later, we had the same experience with Nellie. It was, how can you have this twice within a month of each other? And so I said to myself, there's got to be something more than the paw print, which is such a gorgeous and meaningful memento. But then beyond the paw print, there's got to be some support available. And because when I started to share about my loss, and when my husband, Bud Moore, who also would want to talk about our grief, people's reactions were, wait a minute, you're crazy. Bud, you're an executive. What are you crying about a cat for? And he's like, what does that have to do with anything? And then I got it the worst. You're crazy. There's something wrong with you. Why would you be grieving over an animal? It's just an animal. The shelters are overwhelmed. Go get another one.
Just go get
You're
that.
sick. You need help. Just get another one. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to have a fight with everyone who says these things. I went back to my professor, and I was in the middle of the grad program, and I said, I'm going to search out pet loss support groups. There's got to be other people who are grieving in shame and isolation because they feel so minimized. So the first lesson I learned was that if we're not allowed to grieve something we love or someone we love, it starts to build up and we become sick physically and emotionally if we have to bury our grief and hide it and be ashamed of it. And so I started looking for pet loss support groups and couldn't find any except up at Michigan State University, which was a wonderful program, but I wasn't going to travel to East Lansing.
Right.
I wasn't able to do that with my other schedule. And so I started going to human grief support groups. And I made the mistake. I learned quickly. I made the mistake of saying the reason I was there, and I was shunned. And
Really?
so, yeah. So I, sat quietly, waited till the end, and learned if I'm going to continue to go look at other support groups, I've learned don't say the reason why I'm there.
And that alone
how
is
sad.
sad.
Yeah.
Very
right?
sad.
Yes.
But
Because-
remember, that was
I know.
16 years
I know.
ago. And
I
so
know.
the question is, we have made headway,
Mhm.
but not enough, because every month beyond the paw print is full. And the first 10 years, I formed the group. So when I couldn't find a group, I went back to the department chair, Dr. Kelly Rhodes, who wrote
Yes,
the
yes, she wrote
foreword
the
to
foreword.
the book. She said, Mickey, I guess you can't see it. I said, see what? In your search for support, you're meant to be the one to provide it in memory and in tribute of your animals and other people who are suffering the same way, who have nowhere to go. This is your purpose. Since your family lost, you have lost your anchors. You feel anchorless in your grief. And now I want to offer you this as a new direction and a new purpose. You can transform your grief. You can make meaning out of your loss. You can do this. And I thought, well, I can't swear on your show. But I thought,
Depends on which word,
yeah,
but okay.
like, oh my God. She believes in me. My mentor thinks I'm capable of actually doing this. And I dove in. I just dove in. And that's what I recommend to people. If you have a passion for something, you dive in. Just like Brooke, you went in a different direction. Look what you've created. Look what you've created. And everyone here on your production team, everyone has suffered something. And the key to life is to begin again and to believe we can find new meaning
And the new normal.
and new normal.
new normal.
And that's what's so exciting. So
Yeah.
a year and a half later, 2009 was my first meeting. I didn't think anyone would come to the support group. This was the old days. I called the Oakland Press. I actually got a human being because it was 16, almost 16 years ago. Hello, I'm this lady and this is what I'm doing. And she's like, what? And she covered it. and then gave my phone number and the website and an email address, how to get a hold of me if they wanted to come to the very first meeting. And that was how it began.
How many people? showed up?
People showed up. Of course, my husband and 4 of his friends came, and then my veterinarian came with his 2 daughters, and then they left as people started coming in. So that first meeting was 12 people. That very first meeting,
Mhm.
and
And it's been going ever
it's
since,
been
right?
going ever since. I cannot believe it. And now, since the pandemic, we went virtual the very next month. And now every month there's someone from another country. Right now I have someone from Australia it'll be her 3rd month.
Wow.
Someone from Colorado, someone from Utah, and then Northern Michigan, and then local, all
Mhm.
from our community. But what's brilliant is that going virtual has allowed people from all over to join the meetings where they wouldn't be able to come if I were still in person.
Okay, and doesn't that just tell you how important this topic is?
Oh, very important.
I mean, people, so I've had puppy, dogs. I'm a dog person, sorry. I do love my dogs. But they're always associated with a person, right? And that memory. And so I actually can't even talk about it, I don't think, but
But that's why we're here.
that's why we're
That's
here.
why
right?
tears are holy water. It's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. You need to cry. when
Right.
you need
It's a
to cry.
beautiful thing.
So, but the whole idea of this, this animal associated with a human who is no longer here,
Mhm.
and then you lose the dog.
It rips open the Band-Aid.
So it just triggers you,
does.
And it's funny because her name was Renee.
Mhm.
I have all these dogs with human names. It's so weird. But Renee was a little Chihuahua Terrier who my previous husband had bought for our daughter. And so when he got killed, Renee was like the last gift he had given her. So I had to pay a lot of money to keep this dog because we had to move. There was a lot of stuff that happened. And she eventually came back to Michigan with us. She loved her car rides. But she was getting older. And I mean, she was our dog when my twins were born, when I was remarried,
Yeah.
everything. But when I had to put her down, it was time. And you just sit there and you think, there's so much tied to this like 12-pound little dog, right? I mean, not only did she become my best friend during that
Right.
time, but the memories associated with California, with George, with Nat, just all of it. So it is amazing. And you have your service
Mhm.
for people to come to, and we got such a great response when you were on about that.
It
with the
came out
Folk
really
Companion.
nice, and I appreciate it. People did come.
But this book that you have, and just talking about it, and I get it. I get people looking at you saying it's just an animal, but it's so much more than that because it's love, right?
It is.
All of us are here on this earth, if we're lucky enough, to love and be loved in return. Whether it's a human being, whether it's an animal, this is the greatest gift. It's part of the human condition.
Mhm.
And for some people, the greatest love they have is from an animal because it's unconditional. And Brooke, like you're saying, your baby witnessed all these life events. And
With
at
you.
Renee's,
Yes.
With you.
at her death, it's like, oh my God, that's like the very last
That was it.
living creature connection
Mhm.
to everything.
And she would watch Law and Order with me every day.
Yes, yes.
How cute is that?
She'd just be like, "Oh, is it time?" I heard the dun dun.
Yeah, knew the song.
Exactly. So I so thank you. And I didn't plan on talking about Renee today,
Okay.
but it's kind of
It's
funny
great.
how things come up, right?
does.
And
That-
how you feel like you need to talk about it. And it's just so thank you
welcome.
both. And your book is amazing. I haven't read the whole thing, I'm sorry, but the stories you have in here of the people and the love that they have for their animals is so important. Your support group is ongoing, right?
Yes, every month that we're celebrating 15 years.
That is
It's wonderful.
15
amazing.
years.
So 15 years, and it's not
It's
hybrid.
a month.
It's a
It's
monthly
monthly
virtual.
meeting.
Okay. Real quick, tell me about the canto.
Oh, I just brought this because there are so many ways during the holidays. It's really tough when our loved ones aren't with us. And last week at our hospital where I work as a chaplain, we held our annual memorial service, and we gave everyone a candle to take home and suggested that they create their own intimate remembrance service of their loved one and light a candle and play music and then read letters to their loved one that they would want to say. So there are many ways we can commemorate our loved one who might not be with us physically anymore during the holidays, because it's rough and people have a very difficult time with their grief, between the fact that I had all this love given and received, now that is gone. How do I cope with my grief? And Brooke, you just showed us that we can grieve human loss and our animal loss. It's grief.
Mhm.
Your tears aren't, oh, this tear is about pet loss and this one is about human loss.
It's grief.
It's grief.
Right.
And the point is, if people would just understand, they don't have to do anything, just show up. And if they say, God, I just don't get it, be quiet. Listen, don't lecture, and
Right.
just say, I love you, Brooke. I care about you. I don't get this grief over your animal, Renee, but I care about you. And so I'm here to listen. You talk.
Mhm.
Let me learn about this from you without judgment. Please, for the holidays, please, if you don't want to fight, if you want to salvage all our relationships, be kind.
Be nice. Just be
Listen.
nice.
Be nice, be kind, be present, and show up, whether it's with a candle, whether it's with a plant, or you do a donation in memory of this person's loved
Or you
one.
know what? You just show up in silence.
Show up in silence,
Right.
or find out about a pet loss support group like Beyond the Paw Print,
Right.
or buy the book on Amazon, or reach out. All my services are free. All of it is free. So give the gift of some pet loss support for an individual session, or to come to Beyond the Paw Prints monthly meetings. Everything's available on the website. I don't know if you guys post that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. you will.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I don't need to say all the,
Well, you know what? The book is Tales from Beyond the Paw Print. That is available on Amazon.
yes,
right?
it is.
It's behind me. So there's that.
Okay.
And then real quick, give me the website for the, the support
Beyond-
group.
beyondthepawprint.com. So just beyondthepawprint.com. And then we have our private Facebook group, because some people join to meet a woman or a man and go on a date.
It's like Match.
Match.com, or to
Again
sell,
with Match.com.
right, or to sell their pet urns. And
Oh,
so
gosh.
I screen everyone to
Okay.
make sure they really are wanting to come on
Okay.
for support.
Well, thank you. Seriously. Thank you so much.
Thank you
It's
so
pleasure.
much.
Pleasure to meet you. I enjoyed the book, and I just know how important, I mean, grief as an overall topic, but when you break it down into categories, right? I mean, pets are there. I mean, they're such a big part of all of our lives.
They are.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your story
Oh,
about
you're welcome.
Renee.
No, thank you.
Your vulnerability will help everyone listening, watching, seeing that it's okay to love and to grieve, because if we've loved someone, they deserve time to be mourned.
Right.
So thank you for sharing with
You're
us.
welcome. I'm like,
I
I
really
still can't believe I
appreciate it.
talked about her.
I'm so glad that
Thank
you gave your audience permission to do the same.
Well,
Thank
you.
you.
No, thank you. Now I'm going to go home and look
Okay,
at pictures
now
of her.
can I hug you?
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Validated this topic for so many people by just having both of us on to discuss
No,
this.
it's my pleasure. Anytime. Okay. Thank
Can
you.
I tell you? One of our cats, the one that I love the most, died 3 days before my wedding.
Oh boy.
And if I didn't have Irene that lived next door to me, who helped us through that, it was very, very difficult to not have her as part of it, and then to bring everybody in and for the wedding, because it was a big wedding, 3
Mhm.
days. So I understand.
Yeah, you were
I
trying to
understand.
like bury it so you could
Yes.
just be joyous, because if someone
Yeah.
saw you
came-
crying, oh my God, do you think you
Exactly.
made the wrong
We
decision?
came to the
Can we
understanding that-
annul this?
exactly. But we came to the belief that she did that on purpose, so that way we didn't have to worry about her.
Yeah.
Because that would
During
have been a
that.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
but and with
And-
Irene being across the street, it was really helpful.
That's how
Irene,
you
can
made
you move across the
meaning.
street from me now?
Yes.
Just call me.
I'll just text her.
But that's a
Um,
beautiful way how
Yes.
you made meaning and made sense of it and framed it as you
Right.
guys went forward to continue celebrating this beautiful
Right.
wedding.
All right. Well, we got heavy, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes. We. Oh, do you have a? No. Oh,
And I know stressful times call for stressful
I know, right?
or things.
Yes. So speaking of stressful times, the holidays, I get big migraines during the
Yes.
holidays. So you
Yeah,
want to
when
check out
stressful.
you want to go to mindonline.com. Actually, I used to average probably 3 migraines a month. Now I'm down to 1 every couple months. So it is great. So really, they're fabulous. They're in Farmington Hills. Check them out at mindonline.com. I know we're short on time, but what a great show.
I thought so. I thought it was really great.
Thumbs up, everybody.
Yes,
Thanks, man.
very good. We do have a really cool
Yes, but our
giveaway.
Actually, we have. I've been holding this
Yes,
dog
let
this
me
whole
take
time.
over.
Thank you, Irene. James will love that. Again, another animal with a
Okay.
human name. Okay, so
One.
this one
And 2.
and 2. So very interesting. So I live in Berkeley, and I have heard all about the Bombshell Treat Bar.
I love that place.
Yes, So I went in
Mhm.
yesterday, met them. They were fabulous, and so we have for our live studio audience here, we're going to pick a couple numbers because there's gift cards in here from the Bombshell Treat Bar.
And you will like it. It is a very good place.
Yes, I heard it. Yes, you and Charlie Langton from Fox 2. He's like, oh my god, that place is like the best.
And then we went to go there the one day,
And it
and,
was-
they,
yeah,
they
and it
were,
was
it was the
closed.
day they were closed.
Yep. So yes. So okay, we're gonna pick a number.
Okay.
Okay.
You want-
So you pick one.
I'll pick one.
All right. Pick
All
a
right,
number.
let's say number 6.
We have Dr. Moore in 6.
Oh well, there
Oh.
she is. All right. So one for Dr. Moore. All right. I'll meet you for ice cream, man.
Yes,
We'll eat our feelings.
And we'll
No.
talk. We'll eat our feelings.
All right.
Thank you very
Oh,
much.
you are welcome. And then this one. All right. So another number. I don't even know those seat numbers. So
So pick one.
all right. So I'm just gonna say, what was the number you just picked?
I did 6.
You did 6. Okay. I'm gonna do 4. It must be that second row.
4 is empty.
Oh,
Okay.
what?
4 is
Go higher.
4 is getting some more coffee. Okay. 10.
10.
10 is you.
Oh, JoJo!
Oh,
Awesome. The boys will love the Bombshell Treat Bar.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna just love you even more than they are.
I know, right?
So you ask
Awesome.
people what they're thankful for.
Yes.
What are you thankful for?
Oh my goodness, I am thankful for so much. I am thankful for everyone believing in me, for the show, for everyone coming together, for you, of course, for Alex, for Barbie, for Liz, and of course Jordan, who is here from Imagine More, the studio for the first time seeing the show. It just, honestly, I think that this show for me has been about. I say it all the time about connecting people, resources, and having fun, and also crying a little bit sometimes, right? So
Yeah.
I think we did it all today. I think we managed every aspect of that, right?
I'm excited.
What are you grateful for?
For being a part of this, of course.
Ah, thank you.
And for you having you as a friend
Thank you.
outside of here.
I know, right?
Yeah, for years. And for my husband, of course,
Mhm.
and my family, as
Right.
well as for all the friends I've created here.
I know it's been an amazing
everywhere
thing,
else,
and
but
everywhere else, right?
yours.
Right here. Yes, because every week the studio, new people walk in and new connections are
Yep.
made, and it's just really phenomenal. We do have our monthly giveaway,
Yep.
which we do, and this is 2 tickets for the After Dark show, which is December 9th.
And I'm going to tell you, this is adding up to be one of the best
gonna be
after
so
dark
exciting.
shows ever. I mean, we've got all sorts of things going
Woo,
on.
woo, we've got carolers.
We've got carolers, we've got
Pinup girls,
vendors,
we've got
pinup
vendors.
girls.
We do,
We do.
really, true
We
story.
do.
We also have a very cool short film
Yep.
that will be playing, although I can't remember what's the name of it.
Getting Ed laid.
Oh, yeah. Can we say that? Getting Ed laid.
And of course, it's
You
a
can find it on Match.com. No, just
Yeah.
kidding.
It is Ed Asner and Gene Smart, so it is an
Yes.
above board movie.
Yes. it is.
Short
And Barbie was one of the
Barbie
executive
was one of the
producers
executive
on this
producers.
film. So that will be showing.
Yeah.
So we're excited about
Food.
that. Food. Yes. Lots of food.
And then, of course, you get to see Brooke on the After
And-
Dark show.
And I think there's even going to be, I don't know, is Jordan still? Yes, she is. I think there's even going to be a special martini. I'm so excited. An espresso
Yes.
martini.
And I believe they're going to have a table too.
Yeah. So
Imagine.
seriously. So
Mhm.
tickets are available, but our November giveaway are 2 tickets to the
Yep.
After Dark December 9th. It'll be 6 to 10. What do people need to
So
do?
remember, just go on to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You want to post, the show will be posted. It's going live now. So you want to tag 3 friends. You want to share the post. You want to like and follow the page. You want to do both, like and follow the page. And, comment that you saw the show, what you think. Enter these because some of the past giveaways have been crazy. So we've got 2 tickets to the After Dark, which is going to be the event of the season.
Yes.
And,
It's a great way
going
to wrap up
forward.
the year.
Yeah,
and then we
going-
expect our next After Dark to be in February, and that will be
Yeah.
a whole other theme. And we're so excited about that one. Happy Thanksgiving
What is this?
to the Bombshell Tree
It's a
Bar.
bombshell.
All right. I know we are past our time, but I just want to say thank you to everybody. I wish you much happiness, hot coffee this week, blessings galore for Thanksgiving. I think I
And
might try a tofurkey.
And treat your family good.
Just be nice.
Be nice.
Just be nice, right?
Remember,
Yes.
you may not see them that often during the year, but when you do get together,
Yeah.
love who they are.
Exactly. All right. Have a great week. We'll see you December 2nd.
Yes.
Time is flying. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
December 2nd.
Bye-bye. Keep
Bye.